ever Midlife and Menopause Moment. We will be going live right here every Monday at 12 p.m. EST to give you all the tea. And yes, indeed, I got the tea right here to give you all the tea on everything midlife transitions, helping you to maneuver them with grace and ease. So today's topic is happy hours and hot flashes. All right. So here's the deal, Pickle. I know that it's summertime and everybody is trying to have their summertime fun. And I know that 4th of July festivities are coming up and there's going to be fireworks and bonfires and all those things. But what we don't want to happen is to fire up those hot flashes. Amen. Amen. So just to make sure you know who I am and I know who's in the room. And of course, you can leave some comments, honey, so I can see who's watching with me. I am Dr. Michelle Clay, and that is Michelle like Obama, Clay like Cassius. Indeed, you will not forget that. And my company, Freeality, helps mid women over 40 maneuver midlife transitions with grace and ease through premium loose leaf herbal teas, retreat experiences, and wellness transformational programs. Now, why should you listen to me? I'm glad you asked that. The reason why you should listen to me is not only um am I Michelle like Obama, Clay like Cassius. Good afternoon. Good morning. It's afternoon. Yes, indeed, 12:03. But I am a physician and a certified holistic health counselor and clinical nutritionist. And I'm just like you, honey. I am fabulously over 40, as a matter of fact. I am phenomenally 50 plus in seven in 7 days. In 7 days, seven, the number of completion, I will be 54. Amen. On 7-7, take you to heaven. I'm so excited. I'm so thankful to be here. But anyway, so as you can see, this is not filter. I don't have on any makeup. Look. All right. This is not AI. This is a real person. And so this is not your regular 53. Yes, birthday loading. This is not your regular 53 or in 7 days, 54. This is a Freeality 54. So that's how you can know and trust. And Google me if you don't believe me. And that's how you can know and trust that what I'm sharing with you and what I'm saying to you is the truth, and that I am not some internet coach or whatever. I'm sharing with you the things that I don't just read about, don't just learn about, don't just study about, but I be about it. Okay, this is the lifestyle that I live. All right, so let's go, let's go. All right, so here's the deal, Pickle. Let's take a sip. Amen. Let's take a sip first before I really let me sip some tea before I spill the tea. Mm. Well, today's midlife and menopause moment is sponsored by Reality's Release and Relieve. Very powerful anti-inflammatory indeed. And isn't it a beautiful yellow hue like the sunshine? You are the sunshine of my life. Okay, so this is the thing. I know a lot of us like to have a little cocktail or a little glass of wine to unwind and that type of thing. But there's 5 things that you need to know about that if you're a fabulous woman over 40. She said, Dr. Michelle Clay is not a trend. She's reality with reality. Thank you, Dr. Tanya. I appreciate you. So, here's 5 things that you need to know. Number one is that if you are in perimenopause, so perimenopause, you're still having cycles, all right? Um, and that's it. I live in Atlanta. So think about like this. The city of Atlanta is one thing, and 85, 75 go through it. But then you have the perimeter, 285. That's not quite in the city. It's just going around the city until you get off at an exit or a ramp to get on I-75, or maybe Georgia 400 or I-85 to come into the city. That's perimenopause, baby child. Perimenopause is going around the menopause. And studies are showing that that can happen, is particularly in African American women. They're going into perimenopause earlier and earlier. Okay. the 285 situation. So you may still be having your cycles and still having them on time, but your hormones are starting to change. And when the hormones start to change, i.e. progesterone and estrogen, then that's what things happen. And when things happen, then alcohol can make it worse, i.e. number one is the hot flashes. Okay, hot flashes, and night sweats. So that's considered vasomotor symptoms. So what alcohol does is it actually what they call vasodilates or makes the vessels open up wider, and then the blood is rushing, so you feel this warmth. And for those of you who have already experienced a hot flash, you know it's different than just being hot outside during this heat wave. It's an internal heat, it's an inferno, and it seems to come from the inside and radiate out. So first you get a warmth, and then you get the heat, and then sometimes you get some mist or maybe some straight running of sweat, not just mist. Okay, and then with alcohol, the vessels dilate, open up wide, and then they constrict. So you are very hot, and then all of a sudden you are very cold, just like that, like somebody's flipped a switch. Okay, so that's number one, how alcohol affects it. Number two way that alcohol affects that menopause transition, whether you're the menopause or post-menopause, and that's forever ever after you've reached menopause. Okay, then what happens is it disrupts your sleep, and specifically how it disrupts your sleep. Alcohol has what we call a depressant effect, so you might feel, chilled, laid back, maybe a little sleepy, and you may actually fall asleep. But what alcohol does in women who are in that menopause phase is it disrupts your sleep, where you wake up and you may not be able to get back to sleep very quickly. All right, that's number two. The third way that alcohol affects this whole menopause phase is through weight, your weight. Okay, so when you get older, yes, the metabolism does change, and alcohol is full of empty calories. Now the thing is, once you get to a certain age, since what's it called, the metabolism has changed, then it can be more difficult to lose weight. But can I just tell you something, that last year I gained 17 pounds, and can I tell you that I have released, I didn't lose, I released 11 of it. Losing something means that you can go and find it. I'm not trying to find the pounds, okay? But I release them so they can go to their higher goods somewhere else, but not in my body. So alcohol affects our ability at times to lose weight, release weight. Now, what I have discovered being a phenomenally 50 plus woman is the things that I did in my 30s, some of the things I even did in my 40s don't do my body the same way. Yes, she said release. Yes. That I had to adjust my eating, and I also had to adjust my workout routine. All right. That's for another video. That's for another midlife and menopause moment. Today we're just talking about the hot flash happy hour. That's what today's topic is for midlife and the menopause moment. And definitely share down in the comments whether you're here live or on the replay, how menopause has affected you on today. Okay? How that menopause transition has affected you on today. Okay, so I covered three. We talked about the hot flashes, we talked about the sleep, we talked about um, the weight. The other way that alcohol can really affect you is through, oh, pardon me, is through your mood. So a lot of times what happens is that, first of all, one of the 36 symptoms of perimenopause and the menopause phase is mood swings, also depression, also anxiety. And so when life is seriously lifing, okay, life is seriously lifing for a lot of people, myself included, then a lot of times what women want to do is like, oh, let me just unwind. Let me just bring it down. I'm gonna have she said, when I drink, it definitely has an effect. Yes, you do get hot because those vessels open up, vasodilate. So blood, increased blood flow, um, is you want to grab a drink just to soothe it over, just to make it better, but it doesn't always make it better. All right. And what happens is that sometimes that alcohol use, depending on how much you use, can consume rather, can make your mood worse. All right. It can make your mood worse. Now, the recommendation for women is one drink per day. And that does not mean, oh, honey, I didn't drink anything for 5 days. So today I'm going to have five. That's called binge drinking. That's different. And that's going to make everything worse. Everything worse, to include your cardiovascular health, to include your liver health, not to mention, to include your sleep and the hot flashes, all the things that I had discussed previously. All right. So, how we mitigate, oh, the fifth thing that I'm going to say, the how. The fifth thing is that alcohol affects reflux, or what we call GERD, which is gastroesophageal reflux disorder, GERD, the heartburn. All right. And so, what happens is that um, the whole digestion, when you swallow, first of all, digestion starts in the mouth with chewing, right? And then from chewing, you then swallow it, and then it goes down to your esophagus and into your stomach. So the esophagus is like a tube, all right? So from the tube of the esophagus to the stomach, right? So there is between the at the junction of the esophagus and the stomach is a sphincter, which is a ring of muscle. And what that does is once the food has you've swallowed it, it's gone down to your esophagus. There's some things with the digestive process that happen in the esophagus, then it moves into your stomach, and your stomach is acid, to include hydrochloric acid, to help break down the food even more. This is all part of the digestive process. And because of the junction between the esophagus and the stomach, um, once food moves into the stomach, it doesn't need to come back up into the esophagus. So that sphincter, that ring of muscle closes, so that doesn't happen. Now, with the changing hormones, with a different level of estrogen than what you're accustomed to having, then what happens is that sphincter, that ring of muscle, isn't as tight as it used to be. So therefore, when some of the food has gone into your stomach, it will come back up. And that's what causes the burn, because there's acid in your stomach, so you feel that burn. Now, um, that whole GERD situation, that whole reflux heartburn situation increases in perimenopausal and menopausal women because of the change of our hormones. However, alcohol does the same. Now, for people who are younger than that and you've been experiencing that, like chocolate can do that, spicy foods like tomatoes, stuff like that, that can affect it as well. But alcohol, definitely. So, story time. So, I remember last year, I was in Indianapolis because I was going back and forth because my daddy was very, very sick. I live in Atlanta. And I was staying with my cousin who lived right around the corner from my daddy's house. My daddy was in the hospital for 31 days. And it was, as you can imagine, was very, 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 very not just stressful, exhausting. I was grieving. I was spent, all the emotions, because that was my last living parent. So I was at my cousin's house for his birthday. He had a whole bunch of people over, grilled, had have the drinks. It was nice. And I was relaxing with a cocktail or two or three. Mhm. Not a small cup like this, a red cup. If you know, you know. And that night, I had, of course, had no problem falling asleep. However, I woke up, my sleep was disrupted. I couldn't fall back asleep, and I had reflux really, really bad. All right. So, what the studies are showing is that with reflux in particular, to help mitigate that, it is number one, um, for women, only one drink per day. Number two, studies are showing that beer and wine that have less alcohol content actually worsens the reflux. You get a worse effect with reflux. That a little stronger spirits, tequila, gin, or vodka has less of effect, but still limiting it to just one. Remember, the recommendation is one drink per day. Also, with this reflux, you're having inflammation. So that's why I really love the Release and Relieve tea. So now let's go to the solutions portion of our midlife and menopause moment on this Monday, this fine Monday. Is that some of the solutions? Number one, like we said, is to limit your drinking to one drink per day. That's a recommendation for women. Some women find that maybe even less. Particularly the vasomotor symptoms, the hot flashes and night sweats are even worse, or they're having problems sleeping anyway. Number two is, I'm going to say, balance your hormones. Now, I have a fantastic, and it's happening tomorrow at 7 p.m. EST, the Midlife Reset, 5 steps to thriving wellness over 40. This is for my fabulous women over 40 specifically. Men, I love y'all, but once the sisters are together, then the men can be together. All right. And you can register for that at www.resetover40.com. And that's going to be the number 40. All right. So that's resetover40.com. Resetover40.com. Okay. So one drink per day, balancing your hormones, and there are natural solutions for that, which I discuss even more in the midlife reset. Number three is, if you are having a cocktail, okay, if you are having a cocktail, then have your cocktail no later than 3 hours before you go to bed. All right, that's number three. Number four, if you're having a cocktail, then be mindful of the mixers that you use. If you like a Bloody Mary, then with a Bloody Mary, that's tomato juice, right? Resetovers40.com. That's tomato juice. So remember, tomato with that acid, it increases the heartburn propensity. All right. Um, Also, citrus drinks. So if you're having a vodka and orange juice or a screwdriver, then you might want to switch up maybe to a vodka and cranberry juice, something like that. And I also want to share with you that this right here, somebody did an experiment over the weekend, and I never mixed this here with tequila, but they did, and they said it was delicious. I didn't taste it, but I'm gonna take your word for it. The other thing is things that's gonna help with your digestion, such as like with this blend, it has ginger in it. So ginger helps with digestion. It has turmeric in it. That's what's giving it the beautiful "You are the sunshine of my life" hue. All right. And so those things are very powerful anti-inflammatory agents. So that's going to help with the inflammation that could be occurring in your digestive system. And it also helps with if your digestive health is better, then your mood is going to be better. So there's never a magic wand. I don't even have a magic wand near me. There's never a magic wand to eradicate everything. But the deal pickle is this: wellness is a 360-degree experience. There are 8 dimensions of wellness. So, yeah, we're mindful of our mood, we're mindful of our thoughts, we're mindful of what we consume, we're mindful of our environment, we're mindful of our social circle, we're mindful of our spirit. Okay. Okay. So those are just some tips for today's midlife and menopause moment. And like I said, I will be here every Monday with you for a quick little set, and you share the kind of midlife and menopause moment that you have experienced. All right. So I'm going to sign off for there for now. And I just want to share these with you, particularly since the holidays are coming up, that you can still have fun. You can still turn up the heat with fun, with joy, with love, and enjoying friends and family and some good food. But be mindful that turning up that heat doesn't mean a hot flash or disrupt your sleep. Okay. So, everyone, join me on tomorrow for the midlife reset at resetover40.com. I appreciate you being here so much, and to the replay viewers. And so, until next time, I want you to be well. I want you to do something well and wonderful for yourself. It's Dr. Michelle signing off. Have a positive rest of your day. Mwah! Bye.